Hello everybody, Elle the artist here, and I already started sketching, sorry. So I wanted to try something different on my channel. Um, this is gonna be a sketch with me story time video. My first ever time doing this. I will warn you, I do have a few pets, so you will hear some background noise, like my dog shaking right now. He's coming up on the couch and he's gonna hang out with me. So I wanted to start like a little story time video just because I thought it'd be fun. And I also have some very interesting, spooky ghost stories from my childhood that I really wanted to talk about. Now, this is the best to my memory because it did happen roughly from the ages 7, I would say the ages 7 to 13. I do, like, these stories I'll do in chronological order. And this happened in my old house back in my hometown. I have not lived there since I was 18 and I'm 22 now. So let's get started and we'll just start doodling. So I'm going to be like doodling my OCs. If you guys remember them, Charlie, Jamal, Ash, and Kevin, they all got pretty severe makeovers. So hopefully you'll like the new ones. Okay. So this first story, I was 7 years old at the time, and I was living in the room that became my little brother's room when he was born when I was 11. That is relevant to the story in a minute. So me and my stepsister were just hanging out, chilling on the bed, and just vibing. And I think my mom might have been grocery shopping and my dad was in the living room. So, but all of a sudden, I started feeling this cold chill on my back. Now, this wasn't the first time I've ever felt this cold chill just randomly happen. And I was thinking, oh, maybe I left the window open, because I had a window in that room that led straight to the backyard. And sorry, I say a lot. And I thought, oh crap, I left the window open again. You know, it was like in the middle of winter. So I was like, all right. I went to check it. It was closed. From what I remember, it was locked as well. And then all of a sudden, I heard a voice just like, I couldn't make out what it was saying, but it sounded like raspy. Like a smoker who had been smoking for 50 years. Kind of, it's like the best I can remember it. And my sister, I looked over to her for a reaction, and she didn't hear it. Because she was about 5 at the time. So I thought maybe I'm going crazy, maybe I'm just hearing things, whatever. So I ignored it, and nothing else eventful happened that night. Sorry, my dog's moving. We ate dinner, and then I went to bed. Well, nothing had happened for a few years. Now, this is fast forwarding to around the age of 10. I was 10 years old. I'm not doodling Ash. That's not her hair. Oh my god. I just started doodling. Okay, so I was 10 years old. I was still living in that same room. That's the childhood home I lived in since I was, like, young. And, my siblings were at school. I stayed home from school because I wasn't feeling too good. I honestly think I was faking at one point. You know, typical, I don't want to go to school, Mom, I don't feel good. So I was in my room, and I had just gotten this electric piggy bank for Christmas. So I was putting all my coins in to, like, see how much money I had because I wanted to buy a new game for my DS. That's also relevant to the story in a minute. And all of a sudden, so the way my house worked is, there was the living room, which led to my bedroom, because my bedroom was supposed to be like a dining room. Then my bedroom led to the kitchen led to a back bedroom, and the back bedroom had the door to the backyard and the basement door in it. And the way the bathroom worked is you could access the bathroom from the kitchen or from my parents' room. So I remember I was sitting on the bed. My dad was asleep because it was his day off and he liked to sleep in. I think it was around 8, 9 in the morning. And all of a sudden, I hear these footsteps, like I'm talking work boot, loud footsteps, run from the back bedroom through the kitchen into the bathroom, and the bathroom door slams shut. And I vividly remember the door slamming shut, like it was loud. And so I thought, oh, maybe dad got up to go to the bathroom or whatever, because his room led right to the bathroom, and sometimes when you closed one door, the other door would shut. Or when you opened it, the other door would shut. So I went to go check on him. He's dead asleep. I'm talking dead, snoring, as loud as a grizzly bear, asleep. And I just freaked out. And I didn't leave my room until my mom got home. And I was like, nope. And this was, again, around the same age. So me and my brother, because I have 2 brothers and a sister. So me and my brother Damien, he is only a year younger than me. So at this time he was 9. Yeah. And I had a little, like, this is going to make me sound really old, but I had a little MP3 player that was connected to a USB. And so you could plug it into the computer, download songs onto it. And so it had a record function. So me and my brother Damien had the brilliant idea, because we've been watching Ghost Adventures, to leave the recording and leave it in the back bedroom, because that seems to be where all of the activity is. That seems to be the hot spot, as ghost hunters would say. Sorry, I'm a little weird. I love, like, ghost hunting shows. I'm a huge believer in ghosts. But, so we left. Me, him, my mom, my dad, and my sister, Adriana. We went to go grocery shopping. And to go get something to eat, because Mom promised us McDonald's, or I think she promised us Chicken Express, or one of those restaurants. McDonald's, sponsor me. I'm just kidding. So, and then a few hours later, we came back. Mind you, we left the recorder on a glass table in the back bedroom. Because the back bedroom at that time was just like a storage place where we would just throw junk and store shit. So we had like a glass table back there, and we left it on that glass table. When we came back, the kitchen cabinet doors were open. And are like, okay, that's weird, whatever. And me and Damien were like super excited to go get the recorder to see what it captured. And we weren't getting our hopes up. We were just like, all right, whatever. And so because it was, okay, so when we went to the back bedroom, the recorder that was previously on a table was now on the floor. Yeah, it was underneath the table on the floor. And I'm like, I was like, we did not set this on the floor. Like, that freaked us out, first of all. That was the first thing that freaked us out. So we're like, all right, let's listen to this, because we might have captured something. And we're like, this is going to be groundbreaking ghost hunting history. This 10 and 9-year-old catching ghost activity. And so we listened to it. And you hear us leaving. You hear my family, my mom calling us, be like, come on, kids, let's go. And you hear us leaving. We're like, okay, that's normal. Yeah, you hear our footsteps leave the door. You hear the front door shut. Now, the freaky thing was, we had already been gone, and this recording went on for like a few hours while we were gone. And around the 10-minute mark, we hear the kitchen cabinets opening and closing. Because, like I said, the back bedroom had like an open door. So there was no door to the back bedroom. It was just like an open door frame. And so it led right to the kitchen. And the cabinets, like the pantry, was right there by the door frame. So you can hear them opening and closing. And me and Damien just like looked at each other and were like, what the fuck? We couldn't say that because we were 10, but I was 10, he was 9. And then we hear this voice. And I'm talking clear as day. I wish I still had the freaking recorder, because, say, Charlie. Like that, exact, Charlie. Just like that. And I was like, and me and him looked at each other like, who the hell is Charlie? We're like, I don't even know a Charlie. We're like, I'm not friends with anyone named Charlie. And I asked Damien if he was, and he said no. And then we're like, maybe it's someone who died in the house or whatever. Because I found out not too long ago, actually, doing research on my old house, that it was a World War, it was some kind of war bunker. Like where soldiers would go to be doctored and stuff, and some soldiers died. So I thought, but there was no soldiers that died from the records named Charlie. So I was like, okay, what the hell? So we were like, all right, whatever. And then a year later, after I turned 11, my mom had my little brother, and his name was Charlie. Yeah. So I was like, because I was like, Mom, what are we naming him? And she's like, oh, I'm thinking Charlie. And at first I didn't think much of it, but then I remembered the recording, and I was like a little put on edge. I was like, Charlie it is then. And then, okay. So now we're fast forwarding to where I'm around 12 years old. My little brother Charlie is now 1. He's walking and, blabbling and all that stuff. And he gets moved into my old room, which is, from the living room, boom, because my mom wanted to be able to keep a close eye on him. I got moved to the back bedroom. Now, originally, the plan was for me to move into the basement. But I said, no frickin' way am I moving into the basement. I was like, first of all, it's dark and gross. Second of all, it's creepy. Third of all, no. And I was like, okay, no. And so I was like, I'll make an exception. I will move into the back bedroom. And my mom was like, all right. So we started moving my stuff. I got a new bed. I got, shelves for my plushies and my Pokemon stuff, because I'm still a huge nerd, and I always will be. And I remember me and my sister, again, while I was in the back bedroom, me and her were home alone. We were chilling on the bed. We each had a headphone in, because I believe this was when I was in my Directioner phase. And so was she. So we were like both listening to One Direction. And we start hearing the doorknob, like a doorknob turning. And we're thinking, oh, Mom and Dad got home, because they went grocery shopping. My brother Damien was with his biological mom at the time. And Adriana just came over on weekends to visit. So we didn't think much of it until we heard rattling. We looked up, and like I said, the back bedroom, the basement door is in that room. So we look over and see the basement doorknob turning and the door shaking like someone is trying to get out of the basement. And me and her freak out, because luckily there was a bunch of heavy boxes with all my crap still on, like against the door, because I haven't fully finished moving in yet. I didn't even have sheets on my bed yet, because I was gonna buy new sheets because I got a new bed. So me and her book it. We go outside and we just wait on the porch until my parents get home from grocery shopping. We're like, nah, not happening. I'm not dealing with this. And me being me, apparently I have a lot more ghost stories than I thought, because my mom, I might talk about this like later on, but apparently I've been dealing with paranormal activity since I was 4 years old. Apparently I've been open to this since I was 4 years old. That, according to my mom and like my other entire side of the family. Because apparently weird shit always happens around me. Anyway. So yeah, me and her wait outside, and I was like, all right, I don't feel comfortable sleeping in my room tonight. I'm sleeping in the living room on Dad's recliner, because his was the comfiest. And I was like, I'm sleeping in there. So I did. Now, fast forward to me being 17. I said there was a cutoff, but there's not. This is paranormal activity has been happening to me. There's a lot of more subtle stories, like me hearing knocking. My brother Damien at one point, he was home alone sick from school and kept hearing someone jingle like keys. He kept hearing keys jingling and footsteps. But it's been like, it's not consistent activity. Like, it happens when it wants to, I feel like. So, one day, I was in my room, cleaning it. I was sweeping my floor because we just removed the carpets. And we had, like, you know when you remove carpets, there's that ugly glue on the floor. So I was just sweeping my floor to get all the debris off my dang floor. And I hear a noise. For context, my Aunt Renee on my dad's side gave me a bunch of her porcelain dolls. I bet you're like, hell, the artist, I can kind of see where you're going here. Yeah. So I had them on a shelf. The shelf was right by the basement door. Yeah. So, I was sweeping my floor. And I was getting it clean. And I was finally being like, all right, you know, here we go. It's going to look nice. I'm going to make my room my own, finally. Because it's been a few years and I grew up pretty poor, not going to lie. So I was finally able to get my own stuff for my room. And I hear that sound. You know when you hear, like, porcelain scraping on porcelain? Like that weird, gritty sound that makes your, like, teeth hurt? Yeah. I look, and the doll that I have that's in the green dress has her head turned towards me. Now, previously, I had them all facing forward. They were all facing where my TV was at the time. They weren't facing the angle that I was at. Sorry, I gotta plug in my phone. So, I was a little freaked out. I just turned her head back. And like I'm saying, at this point, I've already been experiencing this for a while. Just like subtle little things, you know, weird noises at night, that kind of thing. So I was like, all right, here it goes again. Because, you know, at some point you're just like, all right, you're just going to do what you want. And I can't really stop you there because there's no point. And I turn it around and I fix it. And then I hear it again. And it's facing me again. And I'm like, okay, please knock it off. I just want to get my room cleaned. I told it, leave me alone. I told it to knock it off. So it did. And I didn't hear the doll move for a while. And that was the experiences I've had in that house. However, these are stories that my mom has told me. Now, my mom, she is a believer, but she's also a skeptic. Don't ask me how that works, I don't know. I think she doesn't like to think about there being, in her mind, ghosts in her house. But, okay. So, this story my mom told me. So, we used to live in a trailer when I was a baby till 4 years old. Because, like I said, my dad is my stepdad. My biological dad is not in my life. He has not been since I was 4 years old. So I don't fuck it. So he can go choke. That sounds mean, but... So anyway, we were living in a trailer. And one of our neighbors told my mom, rather, that she saw this shadow figure on the top of our trailer. She said it didn't look human. It looked evil. But my mom was like, dude, you're like a known crazy person. I'm not listening to you. And of course, my mom didn't want to think that there was anything paranormal in her trailer because we had like just moved in, apparently. But, this one story, I was 2 years old. I was still in a crib. My mom bought me one of those, like, little pianos where you push a key and it plays, like, Mozart or whatever. It's, like, early 2000 toy. It was, like, but the keys were kind of broken because my mom got it secondhand, I believe. And so it's hard to push. They were, like, hard to push down. And my mom was chilling in the living room, you know, listening to the baby monitor, or I think the living room was close to where I was sleeping. She hears my piano going off, and she's thinking, oh my gosh, this kid got out of her crib again. Oh my gosh, they're awake. I'm gonna, you know, kick their butt, jokingly, because my mom never did that. But I was dead asleep in my crib, according to her. So she turned it off, like switched the thing off, went back into the living room to continue watching her show, and then it does it again. And she sees the lights, like, because the key's lit up, so she sees the lights moving. And so she takes out the batteries, and it does it again. And at that point, she's like, nope. And the next day donated it to Goodwill. That's what she told me the next day. She was like, no, she donated it. And then this other story didn't really involve me, but she told me that we had a little ghost boy in our trailer who liked to hide things, and he loved hiding the remote. So my mom would put on her mom voice and goes, please give back the remote. And it would pop up where she already looked, like on the floor or next to the couch, or it'd be on the table where she already like cleaned it and couldn't find it. So that's another. And then one time my mom told me, it was when I was 3 and we had just went trick-or-treating. I think I was a ladybug, I believe. You know, I didn't pick my costume, my mom did. And she had the candy jar up on top of the fridge. Because obviously, 3-year-old with unsolicited access to candy is disaster. So she had it on top of the fridge. And, you know, had it in the back of the fridge, where on top, where no one could reach it, except her, of course. And she says, I was outside, or no, I wasn't outside. I'm remembering something else. According to her, I was in the living room playing, and she was heading to the bathroom, and she heard the candy jar slide off the fridge, land on the floor, and shatter. She heard the glass shatter. And so she ran, and she saw the candy jar on the floor, but it was still intact. There's just candy everywhere. But the jar was still together. You know, it's still like, it was fine. It wasn't broken. And so that freaked her out. And yeah, I don't really have any more because that's all I can remember. I'm pretty sure there's more stories that my mom knows about that she won't tell me because, again, she doesn't like the idea of ghosts being around, I guess. But I do have a few more stories. Okay, I'm gonna stop sketching real quick. So, when I was 15, my Aunt Polly, rest in peace, passed away in her sleep. This is my grandfather's sister, my pawpaw's sister, because I'm Texan. And, you know, it hit me hard because me and my mom would go visit her all the time because she lived like a block away. And, you know, we'd grab apricots from her apricot tree, and she was just like the nicest person that anyone could ever meet. She would give you the clothes off her back if she needed to. That's something you guys might not know about me, and I hope it doesn't affect how you see me or my art. I am a pagan witch. I practice witchcraft. That's really weird for me to admit because I've been keeping it a secret. I started practicing when I was 17, and I've been a consistent witch ever since. Now, when I was first getting into the craft, which everyone thinks it's evil, which I am going to debunk right now, it is not. It's all about worshiping Earth, Mother Nature, love, and light. There's some witches who do practice the darker side, which there's a darker side to every religion. But I digress. I was getting into spirit communication, because I'd always felt a connection to it. Obviously, apparently, according to everybody, I've had this, I don't want to say ability, but I call it a sixth sense kind of thing, because I can feel them. I just can't hear them or see them, because I can feel the energy. And so one day I had a pendulum. If you don't know what a pendulum is, it is the layman's description. It is a pointed heavy crystal or necklace or whatever that you use for divination, which that be tarot card readings, which I do, finding lost items, which it actually helps, it's weird, or I use mine for spirit communication. Now, I was still heavily grieving my Aunt Polly because it was a hard loss. You know, any loss is a hard loss. Sorry, my upstairs neighbors are pretty loud. So I had my pendulum and I've already trained it. And if you guys want a in-depth video on how I practice witchcraft, I'll happily do it if I get enough like. Let's set a goal. Let's do 50 likes. I think that's a good like ratio for my small following at the moment. But I felt something in the room with me. I felt a presence. It didn't feel scary. It didn't feel evil. It felt familiar. That's the best way I can describe it. Now, before her passing, I had 2 other family members pass. My nanny and my pawpaw on my dad's side. His grandfather and his grandmother, accordingly. So I had my pendulum, and I'll start sketching again. I was asking questions. I was like, is this presence a family member? And my pendulum swung to yes. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. I said, is it my nanny? And it said no. It swung no. So the way my pendulum works is it's this way for yes and a circle for no. So it said no. I said, is my pawpaw? No. And that was a very distinct circle. It was a very no. And I was like, okay, is it my Aunt Polly? And it immediately started swinging like this, like crazy. Like, yes, it's me. Hello. And I asked her, because I felt her presence behind me. Now, mind you, the only thing that was behind me was a wall. Nothing else. And I asked her if she was trapped here, and she said no. I asked her if she's okay. She said yes. I asked her if she still loves us, which, you know, is stupid thinking about it because of course she does, but she said yes. And then I asked her if she is just visiting everyone, like all of us. She said yes. And then I said, do you have to go? And she said yes. And then the energy behind me completely disappeared. Like, immediately disappeared. Like, I felt like it was like, poof, it's there, and then poof, gone. And I was like, okay. And I started, like, out of nowhere. And I'm not a crier. I mean, I can be a baby, I'll admit that, but I don't cry, like, constantly. And I just started sobbing, like, full on, like, sobbing, you know what I mean? And my Nana walked in, and she was like, dude, she was like, sweetheart, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine, I lied and I said I watched a sad movie because I didn't want my Nana to freak out, because I am, to my knowledge, the only pagan in a family full of Christians. So you can imagine how Thanksgivings and other holidays go, especially since I practice different holidays. So that's another story. Another story that I have is when I was still in high school and I was at lunch, I believe, or it was my free period, I think, where I had just like a free 30 minutes to hang out. I was outside chilling by the science room doors because my next class was animal science. And this was like a few months after my nanny had passed away. She passed away from lung cancer. And she wore this very specific smelling, very specific perfume. And I was like still depressed, you know, because that was like my first time like losing someone besides like, you know, my pawpaw, which I do miss him every day. If he wasn't so stubborn and would have gone to a doctor, he might still be here. But I don't blame him. So I just smelt her perfume. And it was this very distinct perfume that I've only ever smelled her wear. Like, I've only ever smelt it on her. So I was like, that is so weird. So I was like, and then all of a sudden this wave of emotion just took over, and I cried. I just started sobbing while waiting, and I don't know why. I was like, I don't know why I'm feeling this way. I don't know why I have such strong emotions right now, because it doesn't make any sense. Because I was totally fine. I was having an amazing day, and then I smell this perfume, and then all of a sudden my brain is just like, yep, we're gonna cry. And I was like, all right. Another thing too is this is becoming a 30-minute video of ghost stories, and I hope y'all don't mind a long video. This might make up for me not uploading in like 2 months. Our high school was joked to be haunted, but even my mom, who went to the exact same school, said that it is. And my mom, again, doesn't like thinking that there's ghosts around, you know? So for her to say that is like, whoa. So apparently there was an auditorium ghost, which sounds very cliche. But I actually saw this, and it was a true story. This janitor was fixing something on the top balcony, and he fell, and he died, or he fell and he landed hard on the ground and died in the hospital later because of his injuries, I believe. And this happened like when my mom was like a freshman, so it was like the 1980s, like 1990s, because my mom was born in the 80s. She's born in 1980. And so it happened way before my time. But I do remember being in theater class, because yes, I was that kid. And we were like on the stage and just doing some weird theater exercises or whatever. And me and my best friend at the time, we aren't friends anymore, so I won't say their name, look up, and we see this weird like figure. It looks like a teacher, like standing up there and just like watching us, which would be kind of creepy, considering, I don't know, that's weird to just sit there and watch kids, but whatever. But then we looked at it, and it didn't have a definitive like shape to it. Like, it looked human-ish, but it didn't look human, if that makes sense. Humanoid is the phrase I'll use. It freaked us out because it was just pitch black, and my friend saw this too, so they can vouch. I know that doesn't really mean anything considering I'm talking to a video, but me, like, I was in freshman year when I was 15, because I failed 3rd grade. So that's a little embarrassing. But, yeah, we saw this weird shadow figure, and we asked the teacher, her name was Lady Riley, and she's a goat, and I miss her, if there was anyone up there. She said there shouldn't be. That, like, the area has been closed since the accident. Like, no one's allowed up there. And I was just like, and she asked me why, and me and my friend were like, oh, no reason, Lady Riley. Is it almost time to go yet? But anyway, guys, so that is my long 30-minute video. I hope you guys enjoyed the ghost stories. They are, I will be 100% transparent with you, 100% true. I vividly remember all of this happening. I vividly remember everything except what my mom told me. I can't vouch for what my mom told me, but I'm not going to call my mom a liar. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe if you want to. I will start posting more content. I also have an Etsy shop where I sell my handmade sketchbooks if any of you guys are interested. This is one of my mixed media sketchbooks with the two-tone cover, or two different covers. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time. Remember to love yourself, be kind to others, and stay lovely. Mwah. Bye-bye!